We've got a pair of kitchen taps here that are looking very dated. The actual cap's missing off that one, and the handles are a bit perished and obviously have seen better days. Now you can actually buy an handle and the tap headgear for pillar taps like this, and it's called a tap reviver kit. So I had a look in the sales and I managed to find these taps, which were for sale for £10 for the pair, which is cheaper than buying the actual tap revivers on their own. So what I did is I actually bought a pair of these nice taps with the fancy top on, and what I intended doing is swapping over just a cap onto that headgear. But what I found is the headgear on that tap is slightly different to the one on this tap, so it won't fit. But the actual headgear that's in there, which will look like that, should be the same. So what I should be able to do with these two taps is just swap the complete handle and headgear over, and that'll save a lot of messing about, because if you want to change taps like this in the sink, it's very difficult. So what I was intending to do was remove this handle, and then I was going to fit the new handle onto that existing headgear, but it's impossible for us to do that because it won't actually fit on the spline fitting for some reason. Maybe it's a slightly different size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this headgear out of the new tap and swap it for the headgear in the old tap. Now I have isolated the water supply to these, so there's no water coming out of these two taps. I've also opened the bib tap outside because that's the lowest point on the system. So if any water does pass through the stopcock, it's not going to come out of these taps, it'll come out of the tap outside. You'll often find that it's almost impossible to get these headgears to move because they've been in there that long. You've got to be really careful when you do this because you don't want to move the tap, because if you move the tap you could loosen it underneath from where it's connected to and you could get a leak. Now you can buy a special tool for undoing these, but it's not all that cheap, and what I tend to always do is get an old toilet roll holder like that and cut it down the middle with a pair of scissors and put that over the front of the tap like that to protect it, and then just put a piece of tape on it. So you wrap that around there nice and tight and just put a piece of tape on it. So now we've got the cardboard on the neck of the tap there, and also we've got the box spanner on there, which should give us a lot more leverage. So now if we take that and apply some pressure to the box spanner to hold it where it is, we should be able to open the headgear. And once you've cracked it, it should come out of there quite easily. So that's the old headgear that we're going to replace. So there we have the old headgear and the new headgear, and as you can see they are almost identical. One important thing to check on this is the O-ring, which is that rubber sealing washer going around there. You need to make sure that that hasn't moved and is in good condition. So once you've done that, we can just put this straight back in and just screw it in a clockwise direction. And then when you're retightening it, these don't actually need to be mad tight. So all you need to do is put your spanner on there and nip it up. So now we've got the headgear back in there and it's tight, so we can now put the handle back onto it. So I just need to slide that on there, and then the centre piece, and then we just need to put the screw in. And then we just need to screw the top back on there. Whenever you've been working on taps like this, it's always a good idea to leave them in the open position when you're going to turn the water back on. And then that way, if there's any debris that's dropped down in there, it'll actually get flushed out. So now I'm just going to turn the water back on, and then I'm just going to check for any leaks. So we should be able to turn that off now. And then turn the hot off. So now I can see that there is no leaks there, so I'm going to open the stop tap fully now. So I think you'll agree that they're an improvement over the actual handles that we took off in the first place.